ran away to San Francisco. Just for a few days. I had a friend with a couch in Oakland and a list of cafes to visit across the bay. It wasn't sexy, but it gave me a long weekend away from the rain. Why the fuck not, right? The last time I talked to my therapist, he asked me about the last time I genuinely felt rested. I sat on the question, mulled it over in my head, and then told him. 6 years. I was 18 6 years ago. I was a Toronto high school grad, starting college in London with 2 months to bridge the gap. I remember throwing a going away party with all of my closest friends. We went to the beach in the trunk of an SUV because only one of us had a car, but 10 of us wanted to bonfire. I've held on to the feeling of my best friends laughing and smiling together for the past 6 years, an indescribably rare moment of serenity while we watched the flames eat driftwood and the sun set behind us. I think I was a pretty anxious person, even back then, but my memory of that summer remains the only period in my life where my head has ever felt so overwhelmingly, beautifully empty. But youth is a privilege, and it doesn't last forever. It's shorter for some than others even, and in that, I was lucky that I got a full 18 years. Inevitably, invariably, eventually, it always feels like the emptiness gives itself shape again. School, work, taxes, debt. Family drama and withering friendships. Moving away and restarting with nothing. Staying put and becoming trapped. Inevitably, invariably, eventually, we all grow up. My therapist jotted all of this down. We talked for a little while about the burden of adulthood and the recognition that most of us will spend the rest of our lives doing jobs we hate for salaries we tolerate to care for people we love. I left his office, walked home, laid in bed. I didn't feel any better. Maybe that's why when I caught wind of a discounted flight and a free stay, my mind leapt to yes instead of what's the catch. Why we took that red eye from SeaTac to SFO the very next morning and a surprising departure from my aversion to risk. Because in some weird, fantastical way, I felt like I had a chance to rent back a small piece of serenity. To visit a place and carve out a rehashed fantasy where I didn't get panic attacks and cry at night. To relish in a me that I liked a little more, if only for the weekend. It was fun. I reconnected with long-lost friends in the city and took photos for my family. Saw a mural of Bruce Lee and Sun Wukong and bought a tea set while I was around. Visited a chai bar, a pho spot, and a gelato place in the East Bay that I had pinned for the last few years. Most importantly, I remember sitting down on a rocky outcropping with my girlfriend's head on my shoulder. The seawater kicked up and sunlight winked out. And I wish more than anything else I could do justice in explaining to you just how overwhelmingly, wonderfully empty my head felt as we sat on that beach and watched the sunset over the Golden Gate. It was beautiful. And it wasn't what 18-year-old me had. It's not the same people or the same city. It's more complex problems and nuanced issues. It's bills and mental illness and maturing and persistence, but maybe it doesn't have to just be that. That kid from Toronto has come a long way, and I choose to believe that I spent the weekend carving out a tiny piece of San Francisco for him. I think he'll cherish it. I mean, 2 sunsets are better than 1, right? I saw my therapist again today. He asked me the same question. I sat on it, rolled over an answer, and eventually told him. Last week. I hope you find that too.